So, hi! Nandito naman tayo ngayon sa klase natin ngayon. In our JEC 112 rather, Readings in Philippine History, we are already in our week 11. And our topic is so interesting. It's all about, once again, an agreement of peace between the government of the Philippines, the Republic of the Philippines, and the MILF or the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. So, learning objective natin. So, by the way, yung pag-uusapan natin ngayon, ano yung treaty nila nangyari sa panahong yon. And in the middle of that, or ano ba yung nangyari, kasalukuyan, you're not going to tackle that. Ano lang yung pinag-usapan nila doon, yung araw na yon? Nila President Ramos, okay? So, learning objectives. So, by the end of this lesson, the student will be able to, first, express appreciation of the initiative of the Philippine government to achieve peace. And second is derive lessons from the experience of both the government and the MILF. Okay, so the government of the Philippines, of course, before the presidency of Ramos, and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front herein referred to as treaties to this agreement. So ano tong agreement na to? Sabi dito, determined to establish a peaceful environment and a normal condition of life in Bangsamoro homeland, reaffirming general cessation of hostilities dated on July 18, 1997, and the general framework of the agreement of the intent signed between the parties on 27 August 1998, and committing to reach a negotiated political resettlement of Bangsamoro problem and enduring peace and stability in Mindanao. So let's recalling the Tripoli Agreement in 1976 and the Jakarta Accord to 1996 between the government of the Philippines, or the GRP, stands for Government of the Republic of the Philippines, and the MNLF, or Moro National Liberation Front, and the OIC Resolution number 569P IDES on November 2000, and the 9th session of the Islamic Summit Conference in Dubai to promptly put an end to armed hostilities. So ito yung target talaga, putting an end to hostilities, armed hostilities, and to pursue peace talks towards finding peaceful resolutions to the existing problems in Mindanao. So let's note that the basic element principles for the resumption of peace talks between MILF and the GRP panels have been facilitated by Government of Malaysia. Yung Malaysia yung nag-facilitate ng peace talks na nangyari. Okay? As set forth in the agreement on the general framework of the resumption of peace talks, so yan talaga yun oftentimes sa pag nagkakaroon talaga ng mga treaties talaga, ibang nation yung mag-facilitate, dapat mas mabuti yan kasi nga para hindi magkameron ng bias. So ginagawa yan before, I think, yung Treaty of Paris, may ibang nation talaga na although may iba yung nag-lead, may nag-preside talaga, may other nation dyan para wala talaga mangyaring bias. Okay? Or mag-facilitate. As set forth in the agreement on the general framework resumption of peace talks with the government of the Republic of the Philippines and the MILF signed March 24, 2001 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. And tingnan natin to Oftentimes, nangyayari yung mga peace talks talaga, hindi talaga sa country. Example, Treaty of Paris, masasabi mo, yung Treaty of Paris ba, ano nga yung, related ba yun yung government ng Paris or yung Paris ba na presidente? Hindi. Diba yung Treaty of Paris talaga, it's according lang to, I think, Spain yata, America. So, yun lang, ibang country lang yung nag-facilitate, saka sa ibang country yung, hindi ko alam yung behind the logic yan, bakit sa ibang country. But I think, there is this process na nangyayari kanyan to avoid discrepancies or maybe baka bias, baka may paboran. Kasi kung US yung facilitate, US yung involved sa treaty, baka iba yung paboran, baka iba yung something approve or the like. Further recalling Article 6 in the said agreement on general framework for the resumption of the peace talks between GRP and MILF signed Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, which in parties agreed to undertake relief and rehabilitation measures. For example, mga relief rehabilitation, pag magkameron ng sakuna, emergency, kailangan para relief and rehabilitation measures for evacuees and joint development projects to the conflicting areas. So, example dito, pag nagkameron ng gera, so dapat focusan talaga yung lugar na yan. Example, yung Marawi. No? So, nagfocusan yun. Recognizing that these negotiations between GRP and the MILF is for the advancement of general interest of Bangsamoro people and other indigenous people. So, hindi lang po siya yung mga Moro people. And other indigenous people na rin na nandyan sa Bangsamoro. And kasi oftentimes nababias tayo dito. Sometimes nakikita lang ng ibang tao, Bangsamoro lang yan, bias sila. Gusto nilang may special sila. Pero hindi. Yung treaty na to is para din sa indigenous people aside sa Bangsamoro people, okay? And recognizing further the need for a comprehensive, just, and lasting political settlement. So, the conflict Mindanao. So, sabi dito, nagkakameron din ng political settlement. Meaning, at some point, may nagkakameron ng sovereignty. The parties welcome the resumption of the peace talks and supposedly have agreed as follows. So, ito yung napag-agreehan nila. First aspect, kasi di ba yung parang punto dito is parang matigil the ending of armed conflict. Of course, security aspects. So, in accordance with the incremental characteristic of peace process and agreement and the general framework of resumption of peace talks and parties, now consider that normalization in conflict-affected areas can be achieved with certain principles and guidelines of conduct and action adhered by the parties among these. So, ito yung kailangan may mapagsunduan daw silang guidelines and conduct. So, first guidelines ito, all past agreements of parties shall be implemented in accordance with the agreement general framework for the resumption of peace talks signed by Kuala Lumpur. So, ito yung pinasign din, meaning, progressive resolution of Bangsamoro problem with honor, justice, integrity, and all sectors. Also, mayroon din tayo ditong negotiation and peaceful resolution of the conflict must involve consultation with the Bangsamoro people. So, pag meron ng resolution, kung ipapasa, negotiation, dapat daw i-consult muna sa Bangsamoro people. Diba nga, democratic country tayo. People free of any imposition under in order to provide chances of success and open new formulas and permanently. So, hindi yung ipakonsult na sa Moro people, Bangsamoro, natapos na. Hindi. Dapat daw, free of any imposition. Dapat hindi pa natapos. Meaning, meron pang chances talaga of opening new formulas and permanent aspiration. Hindi yung parang example, may ka, pumunta ka ng Iligan, ganun. Example lang ganun. Tapos na. Nakapunta ka ng Iligan, doon ka parang nag-inform. Hindi na po yan consultation, informing na lang po yan. Iba yung informing tsaka in consultation, meaning wala ka po munang gawin, you consult first before ka may gawing bagay. Yan yung consultation, yung kaibahan natin sa information, okay? The parties agree to invite representatives of the Organization of Islamic Conference, kailangan may of Islamic Conference to observe, monitor, and the implementation of all GRP and MILF agreements. The parties further agree to strengthen GRP agreement and general association. Upon signing the agreement, shall be constituted Representative OIC. Okay, so next nito sa security aspect, meron din rehabilitation aspects. Okay, so rehabilitation aspects, yung example pag sa mga evacuees, rehabilitate yung lugar, kasali yung mga evacuee. So the observance of international humanitarian law and respect of internationally recognized human rights, instruments and protection of evacuees and displaced persons. So displaced person, ito yung mga IDPs, mga DP, or mga internally displaced persons in conduct of their relations reinforced by Bangsamoros people's fundamental right to determine their own future. So, I think that's understandable that dapat magkameron ng human rights and rehabilitation aspects. Dapat matignan yan. The second is, the MLF shall determine, lead, and manage rehabilitation. Dapat daw, mamuno dito yung MLF sa rehabilitation na to. So, the parties shall safely return evacuees to their place or region. So, of course, hindi pwedeng may mangyari. Dapat talaga i-return sila safe place to provide all necessary financial material and technical assistance to start a new life sa mga evacuees natin. So, of course, in order to favor the relief and rehabilitation evacuees and implementation of development projects in the areas affected by conflict, the parties agree to implement GRP agreement and general association. Of course, aside dito, magkameron dapat na ancestral domain, yung mga lupa, and the respect of ancestral domains, the parties in order to address the humanitarian and economic needs of Bangsamoro people and preserve their social and cultural heritage, okay? And inherit rights over their ancestral domain, agree the same be discussed further by the parties in their next meeting. Of course, meron din tayong activation of committees. Dapat may mga committee dito na Since meron ng nabigyan ng sovereignty at some point, meron din mga committees. Immediately upon the signing of this agreement, the parties hereby agree to activate working committees for the purpose of discharging their mandates. Para yung mga mandato, yung committees na yung bahala dito mag-discharge. Particularly the implementation of all agreement between the parties. So, acknowledgement dito, sino yung the parties acknowledge the leadership of Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Si President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo para dito. I think si Ramos yata yung vice. In pursuing an all-out peace in Mindanao, the parties express their collective appreciation and gratitude to great leader and great socialist peoples Libyan, Arabian, Jamahiriya, Colonel Muammar Gaddafi, and to Chairman of Gaddafi International Foundation for Charitable Association, Saif Islam Gaddafi, for hosting formal opening and resumption of GRP Emailad Peace Talks in Tripoli, Libya, to His Excellency Dato Seri and Mahatma Mahathir Mohamad, Prime Minister of Malaysia, and His Excellency Abdurrahman Wahid, President of the Republic of Indonesia, for their full and continuing support. Natapos siya dyan on this 22nd of June. Ito yung natapos. Corresponding the 30 Rabiul Awal, if I read it mistakenly, apology. In 1422, in the presence of the representative of the Gaddafi International Foundation for Charitable Associations, the government of Malaysia, and the government of the Republic of Indonesia. So, for the GRP, the chairman dito is GRP Peace Panel, Jesus Doreza. And for the MILF, Al-Haj Muraj Ibrahim, chairman of MILF Peace Panel, witnessed by Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, chairman of Gaddafi International Foundation for Charitable Associations. So, yung source dito po ninyo makikita. Just click it or copy it, paste to your web. And of course, here's the question to ponder. So, what is the important? So, balik tayo sa objectives natin. No? So, importante kasi ito. So, did you express your appreciation of the initiative of the Philippines to achieve peace during sa time ni Gloria and during sa time ni Ramos? And did you derive the lessons from the experiences of the government to both in America, especially now? So, for me, I appreciate. Okay? Kasi ngayon, before even now, parang wala man nangyayari. So, what important lessons have learned from this agreement or peace? What is the current status of this agreement? Can we achieve lasting peace in Mindanao? Have a research if you have. Okay, so, maki kasing topic na to kasi hindi lang kasi ito isang day natapos. There's a lot of research to be need na effective ba talaga yun? What happened? So, what we just discussed is ano yung titin nila, pinag-usapan nila, security aspects, rehabilitation aspects, domain aspects, and the like. But before that, thank you sa kasi natin ngayon sa pagkinig mo. I will just be posting additional videos to support this lesson, okay?